if we go back, I mean, every single time we've got the Song Dynasty where paper money came from in the first place. They got print happy, and they ended up with all these financial issues that led to the destruction of their society. The Romans, the Weimar
History
Republic.
history doesn't always repeat itself, but it sure does rhyme an awful lot.
Absolutely. So when you're talking about when you count the unfunded liabilities of Medicare, Medicaid, and Social
No
Security,
doubt.
we're up well over $120 trillion in debt. Okay, totally unsustainable. So,
I know.
question: someone wants to, because this is the other thing that people, including myself, are kind of mystified on. Someone wants to go out and they want to purchase a digital asset. How do they do it? Where does it reside, when not in use? And how do they keep it safe? Those are the things folks want to know about the dollar bill. So how do we do those things with digital assets?
Okay, real quick. Give me those 3 points one at a time, just so I don't get lost, because I know I
Got it.
will.
All
The
right.
first
So
one is, where would you go out if you wanted to purchase some crypto?
correct.
Okay. So the place you would typically start would be either one of the crypto exchanges, which there's hundreds of around the world, um, or some broker dealers offer services now. If you're accredited and you bank with certain banks, you now have access to crypto through them. Um, so there's that. For the exchanges, you have so just to be very mainstream and not send anybody off into the total unknown. Coinbase is probably the biggest one in the States. It's huge. Its interface very easy to use. You could give it to your grandparents, and as long as they know how to function a smartphone, I'm pretty confident they can find their way around the app without too much trouble. Um, Another cool feature that they have is they have what's called earn and learn. You watch these little very short videos. They're more like animated pictures, kind of,
Okay.
and it gives you a little bit of information about these tokens. You take a quiz, you pass the quiz, they give you free crypto for each of those assets. Usually give you like anywhere from $3 to $5 worth. It's nothing major. But I also tell people that are interested, go on there. Right now, you can earn about $40 worth of free crypto by taking about 10 quizzes. And you will learn about some of the functionalities about these cryptos. None of the cryptos that they usually have on that section are anything I'm invested in or that I plan on investing in. But that doesn't mean they might not be a sound investment for somebody else. There's also another one called Uphold, which is more of it's a broker. They sell securities. I think even Coinbase, I think on Coinbase Pro can do securities as well, but they offer some accredited services on Uphold, and they also offer metals, different
Okay.
currencies. You can do a full-on currency exchange there as well. Those would be the two that I would suggest people just start off at. Get familiar with those. The user interfaces are so simple. There's because when you get into some of these other ones, it turns into you got like the order books flying by
Okay.
everywhere and
Okay.
all the pressure graphs and everything, which is fine with me. I don't mind that, but
Right.
just getting into it, if you want to make it easy, go to either Coinbase or Uphold. Great platforms.
And you said
And
Coinbase actually has the
earn
training.
and learn. Yeah.
Oh, got you. Okay. So even if you decide not to move forward with any of the ones on their platform, your time was still well
Yeah.
spent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go in there and
Okay.
get some free crypto and sell it and invest it in GameStop if that's what you're into. I mean,
Right.
hey, it's free. You could get it and wait and see if it's the next Bitcoin. Your $3 might be worth 10
Who
grand one day. Who
knows?
knows?
Right.
Who
Right.
knows?
Right. Right. All right.
Now the second part of that.
The second one was where does it reside when
Okay, so
you bought it?
storage.
Where is it? Yeah.
Okay, so what blockchain essentially is? Well, we'll get to that. I know you're going to ask me that here in a little bit. We'll cover that in a second. But on the chain, the blockchain, each blockchain is its own network of decentralized servers. A lot of them are all around the world. Some blockchains have 22,000 individually owned nodes that are scattered around the planet, satellites, you name it. And they help run consensus. That's what everything validates. And we'll get into that, but when your assets, like when you purchase an asset, it's generated on a blockchain, and it's always going to be, to an extent tied to that blockchain. When you buy it through an exchange and you leave it there, there's one thing that's very important for people to know, and I think it's similar with certain stockbrokers too. I might be wrong, but I think it is. So they are what is known as a custodial wallet, basically. Their wallet, your wallet on their platform is actually their wallet that has a special ID that is associated with you. But the assets that are shown in your balance technically are basically IOUs that you're going to expect them to honor at some point. So I always put that out there. The ones I use, I'm fully confident in, but people should know that, because as an investor, you want to know if that's a possibility. I mean, in theory, if they got banned globally, which is pretty hard to do now, but if something like that were to happen, I mean, you could maybe not get your stuff. Some of them even have insurance on the exchanges now. If your stuff gets hacked, they refund it. There's a lot of stuff like that coming into play. They do have asset insurance now, black swan insurance for crypto that you can get. It's expensive, but if you got enough going on, I mean, it might be interesting to some people.
Worth it. Right.
Now, they also have non-custodial wallets. Non-custodial wallets is where you control your private keys. So there's an encryption process that goes on in these things where you have to, when you're confirming like transactions and stuff, there's like a multi-sig process. It's not as complicated as it sounds, but it's I lost. Oh yeah. So when you're doing that and you have one of those wallets, like I use Trust Wallet. It's mobile only. It has to be on your phone. They give you this really crazy seed phrase, and if for some reason you lose your phone, the app gets lost or whatever, you use that seed phrase to recover your wallet. But because it's non-custodial and you control the keys, your assets are stored directly on the blockchain. Picture it as like a folder with some files in it.
Okay.
Think about it just for like the visual. That is stored on a particular hard drive that's comprised of 10,000 nodes around the world. It's stored there. You lose your stuff, it's still there once you recover with your seed. If you lose your seed phrase, man, there's horror stories out there. People have like really been upset with things they've misplaced.
Sure.
So it's also something you have to keep in mind. You should have multiple copies in multiple places, maybe even with somebody that you really trust who doesn't even know what it is, but you scatter that thing. But you're able to recover it. What's great about that is it's super secure for the most part. You could still be susceptible to like a phishing attack, some sort of back-ending hack, because you can connect these wallets to different interfaces and stuff. So there's still some navigation that needs to be done.
Gotcha.
Then they have hardware wallets. Those are, for long-term storage, there's no option. Especially if you're investing heavily, if you have like a large sum, some of them are cool. Here, you can buy one of these. This is the Ledger Nano S. It is a cryptocurrency hardware wallet. I have one I actually ended up not using these. I went a different route, but I had one sitting right here. I was going to show it to you guys. I don't know what I did with it. But anyway, this thing is basically a USB stick. There, you can see it pretty well, actually.
Yeah, we got it. Yep.
Super cool, man. It's really like kind of tedious. You got to push button combinations, and it gives you like a 16 randomly generated word thing, and that's your phrase. You got to keep that. But what's cool about these is through their interface, whatever it is, your assets are stored directly on their own blockchain. So they're still existing on the chain and they're locked to their whatever. But the only way to access them is through this. If you lose it, you can recover it using your seed phrase, just like everything else. But that's kind of the beauty of the decentralized nature, is that if 9,000 of 10,000 nodes vaporized in an instant, the network is still going.
Yeah.
Now you might have some lag or something crazy that happens, but so they also have what I am using, what is called a Tangem card. That's TANGEM. That's tangem.com. I suggest checking those out. Those are RFID technology. This is actually that XRP card we were talking about, but
Yep.
they're RFID technology, and through certain apps, you get on the app, you have your stuff sent to whatever wallet, you tap it, and it puts everything onto its own blockchain, but it's stored on this card with this RFID chip. And then you just got to make sure that's safe. There's a backup thing you can do where you can create multiple copies of the same key and then disperse them. It's my favorite method. It's easy. You tap, it does it. There's no buttons. You just want to make sure all the information that you need is saved and like can't be lost permanently, because if that happens, like your assets are gone. There's nobody to call, and even if there was,
Wow.
they can't do
Okay.
it. Even if there was, like, you can't do anything about it because the encryption is really crazy. Like, it's not gonna.
So with that, because I know some people that might raise some eyebrows, but years ago I'm pumping gas and I look up on the pump and here's this wallet, okay, and I'm like, oh, some dude left his wallet. So I'm going through, I open it, try to find out who it belongs to, and this guy's got like hundreds of dollars in this wallet. So I take it into I find a business card. I take it into the gas station and I call dude and I'm like, listen, you've got X amount of bucks in your wallet. He's like, right. I said, I'm giving it to this guy in the in the gas station.
Yeah,
Uh, you need to come pick it up. He thanked me profusely, but another guy shows up at the pump. This guy's cash is gone. He's
Oh
got
yeah,
so we're not, it's not like we're not used to dealing with something like that
yeah.
when it involves our money.
And
So,
I know it's really overwhelming for a lot of people because when you're explaining these processes, it's so techy, and that's why I was a huge geek growing up, man. And like, I mean, we've talked Star Trek, I
yep.
love technology, and like, so that's one of the things that got me so into all this. It's just so cool. But yeah, those RFID ones, man, I think they're really cool. The thing is that you want to take into consideration is if you're somebody who's into trading on a frequent basis, having it on cold storage like that is not the best way, because if you see an opportunity for arbitrage, or maybe there's a dip and you see a point of entry, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, now I can go. You have to actually, and if that involves another trade, you've got to go get your stuff, get it back to an exchange, then do your transactions. You can't transact from that card. It is storage only. It has no functionality besides unlocking and locking your assets.